Hi, my name's Margie Dangerfield. I'm a registered nurse, midwife, and independent Zinzino partner, and I've helped almost 3,000 people using Zinzino's test-based nutrition. In this video, I'm bringing you an industry leader and an expert in their field who are integrating Zinzino's personalized test-based nutritional approach into their clinical practice. So, if you're ready to move beyond guesswork and elevate your health and your patient outcomes with precision-driven strategies, you're in the right place. Well, welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining our Wednesday webinar. I am absolutely delighted to have you with us today, Stuart. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Margie, I'm sorry. It's such an honor to be on your show. I'm so happy to have joined you.
Oh, it is my pleasure actually to introduce you today because for those of you that don't know, Stuart is a renowned authority in nutritional medicine and dietary supplements. Now, Stuart has nearly 30 years of experience in the natural health industry and has dedicated his career to educating professionals and the public on evidence-based wellness strategies. Stuart served as the global educator and the brand ambassador for Nordic Naturals, helping shape global understanding of the vital role that omega-3 plays in health and longevity. He's also served as a senior role with CV Sciences, where he led the conversation on science and safety of CBD and hemp-derived supplements. Stuart is a highly sought after media voice, having delivered thousands of radio and television interviews worldwide, contributing to influential publications in integrative health. So to have you with us today, Stuart, is a real honor. And I just really admire the work that you're doing. You're such a passionate health advocate, a dynamic speaker, and truly a lifelong educator. So to have you with us here in Zinzino now is just amazing. So thank you for your time today.
Oh, Margie, it's such an honor to be with you, and I just love this subject so much. I have to give all of the credit to my professors and my teachers. There's a lot of science in the omega-3 space, and we just really don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just have to point people to the science. I thought before I share some of the slides, this is my professor's book. It's called Fish, Omega-3, and Human Health.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that your team focuses on healthcare professionals. So
Mm-hmm.
does my team, our team, A Vibrant World here in the United States. But this is just important. I just want to read a little section. Would that be okay with you?
Please do. Yeah,
Right before we
absolutely.
get started, because I think it sets the stage. This was written in 1985.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was so lucky to have Dr. Lands and all of the other omega-3 experts pour into me and mentor me. That's what I'm going to share tonight, is what they've
Mm-hmm.
shared with me. And it says, overall, omega-3 fatty acids can be recommended to a general healthy population to prevent development of atherosclerosis, thrombosis, arrhythmia, and also reduce the risk of increased autoimmune conditions. The important aspect is emphasized in chapter 5. This is what we do with Zinzino,
Mm-hmm.
is to begin effective balancing of dietary essential fatty acids early enough to prevent amplified actions before cellular changes and tissue damage occur in an irreversible way. So
Wow.
when I found Zinzino and they said they are going to be the biggest preventive health company in the world, and this is what I had dedicated my life to,
Mm-hmm.
and I brought these blood spot tests to people at Whole Foods, GNC, and Vitamin Shop almost 20 years ago with Nordic Naturals,
Mm-hmm.
and they had no idea how important this number would end up being. They didn't take the test. They didn't have a system. They didn't have the balance oil. They didn't have the balance concept. So being here is my privilege. I've spent my whole life in the omega-3 space looking for something like Zinzino. So I put a little slide deck together, if that's okay to share with the group.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Okay. So for anybody that's new to the call or watching this as your first exposure to Zinzino, first thing I wanted to know is, well, what does the name mean? Never heard of it before. And it means a small piece with great value. And that's what Zinzino gives. It adds to the pantheon of nutrition in a way that I haven't seen before. Again, starting with this mission to become the biggest preventive health company in the world, the democratization of medicine, people being able to take control of their own health by testing, moving away from guessing to testing, moving away from celebrity influence to data to your own blood levels, and to move the dial on public health globally. That's the why every day. And that's why we're looking for people to help us to join forces with us to measurably move the dial on public health globally. Now, we know health-related problems are increasing. There are multiple reasons. A healthy inflammatory response is connected to most of those reasons. And it's been said that food should be our medicine and our medicine should be our food. We all know that quote from Hippocrates, but we don't get the nutrient-dense food that we used to get. We just don't. We don't get the right amount of essential fatty acids. We don't get the right amount of micronutrients in our diet. We just don't. And that's why real supplementation does make sense. So one of the big areas of modifiable risk is the balance between the two essential fatty acids. Simply put, omega-6, imagine my left fist is omega-6. It's essential. It comes from seeds and nuts and animal products. Your body doesn't make it. And it's largely pro-inflammatory. Where omega-3 is essential, your body doesn't make it. It comes from green leafy vegetables and fish primarily. Your body doesn't make it, and it makes the largely anti-inflammatory signals. Having these two fatty acids in balance appears to be the next most important biomarker. The number you don't know that you should know. We know what the safe zone is now. 3 parts omega-6 to 1 part omega-3. 2 to 1 is better, 1 to 1 is a perfect score, but this is what's considered the safe zone. So how did we get here? From the Industrial Revolution before, most people probably would have tested in balance. 1 to 1, maybe 3 to 1. The Farm Bill came in 1960. That changed agriculture as we understood it. Different in different parts of the world, but here in the United States, it was a horrible shift. And now, as we know, we eat ultra-processed foods, but even people that don't eat ultra-processed foods need to remember that omega-6s come from seeds and nuts. So even if it's organic, grapeseed oil or avocados or almonds, these are all healthy foods, but they're natural sources of omega-6 linoleate in the diet. The omega-3 that we're looking for, the long-form omega-3, comes from algae or from fish. So ask yourself, are you eating 250 pounds of seafood per person per year? And most people are not. So we know where the ideal ratio is. We know where the average ratio is. And we want to know if you want to get tested. So how does this affect our cells? And this is probably the most important part of understanding the benefit of what Zinzino has to offer. If you look at the slide, if we are deficient in omega-3s, the other fatty acids are a little bit stiffer. They're not quite as flexible. Omega-3 EPA and DHA are much longer fatty acids, and they add a level of fluidity to the cell membrane. In the absence of enough EPA and DHA in the cell membrane, there are more of these shorter chain fatty acids, and they're stiffer. And as a result, nutrients just don't quite get in the cells as efficiently as they can. It builds up metabolic waste faster than it probably should. And then if you look at the little mitochondria, that has its own lipid bilayer as well. So to achieve healthy cell membranes, we have to have a certain percentage of omega-3 in the red blood cell. We now know this because in the absence of enough omega-3 in the red blood cell, for example, if you have a low omega-3 index, the red blood cell doesn't have the shear strength it requires to become half of its size to move into the microcapillary. If we have too many of the longer chain omega-6s and not enough of the longer chain omega-3s in the cell membrane, Every time there's immune inflammatory response, the immune system has what it needs with the omega-6s. It's just deficient in what it needs to resolve the inflammation. And that's why this number is so important. So would you like to take a test to find out your results? I was the spokesperson for Nordic Naturals. I've taken omega-3 for a long time. I failed the test at 13-1. I was shocked. And I'll share some reasons why I think there might be a rate limiting factor why so many other people like me were taking purified omega-3 fish oils and they weren't delivering on the promise. And I believe Zinzino has figured out why. The samples are sent to a world-renowned laboratory in Norway. I've been so honored to visit the third-party independent laboratory, Vitas Analytical Services in the Science Center. It just was exquisite. I got to meet Professor Thomas Gunderson. They've been there for 30 years. They're probably one of the first places in the world to do this dry blood spot testing. And I love that they work with esteemed institutions like the Max Planck Institute, University of Cambridge, King's College London, University of Oxford, University of Oslo. I mean, the client list is so impressive. And their number one customer is Zinzino. They have robots that are testing the quality control and quality assurance is unmatched. I felt so happy to see that with my own eyes. And in our now almost 1.4 million tests worldwide, we're finding that it is a global pandemic. The World Health Organization says over 6 billion people are deficient in omega-3. And this is the reason why it's time to start testing and to stop guessing. The global average is 97% of people fail. And this is what's exciting. 95% of people, this is our internal data, that follow the balance concept, which I'll explain, improve dramatically or pass. And it only takes 120 days because that's how long it takes for all of our red blood cells to pretty much turn over. Now, our scientific advisory board that has developed these products are remarkable. I've gotten to meet several of them, but I also have been to the manufacturing facility in Oslo, Norway, where these products are made. And I've been to manufacturing facilities all over the world in the nutraceutical industry. It was of the highest possible caliber. And the people, our chief science officer, Paul Clayton, if you're not familiar with his work, I beseech you, if you're interested in nutrition, to please follow him. He went to Edinburgh and then went to Oxford and studied with Michael Crawford, who wrote The Driving Force. He's the world expert on omega-3 DHA. Ola Edie is the Norwegian scientist that created this entire balance concept and really figured out how to make fish oil more like oily fish in liquid form. He figured out how to make fish oil more like oily fish in liquid form and how to create an entire concept that was not 10% better than omega-3. It was 10 times better than anything in the world of omega-3. Dr. Angela Rizzo from the University of Milan helped to perfect the blood spot test for Zinzino. Dr. Abraham was at Nestle for 40 years and is Dr. Natalie Cather, board certified in women's health, has worked on the pharmaceutical side and on the nutraceutical side. Stephen Chernisky is a famous scientist who helped work with the FDA and the US Olympic team. And then on my team, we have many doctors around the world that have integrated Zinzino into their practice. That's one of our main focuses. And so I could not be happier with the intellectual firepower here at Zinzino. This blog article, please, I want you to read this one, From Algae to Omega. Dr. Clayton says in this article that when the Inuit ate whale blubber, that the whale blubber, because the fish were eating algae, also contained polyphenols in addition to omega-3s. Zinzino means a small piece with great value. When I learned this, this is a small piece with tremendous value. You see, because the Inuit diet was the most cardioprotective. Oily fish consumption was the second most cardioprotective. Fish oil consumption just wasn't really delivering on the promise, on the expectation. And it's really Dr. Paul who brilliantly lays out what Zinzino was able to do by bringing the polyphenols and omega-3s back together like they were originally in nature, because all EPA and DHA come from algae. This ring you see in the slide is an illustration of what this polyphenolic ring, it's a fluorotannin that protects the EPA and DHA, wraps around the omegas for protection to help move it through the trophic levels of the fish, to go from the algae to the plankton, to the smaller fish, to the larger fish. When the whales ate the smaller fish ate the plankton or the algae, the polyphenols moved through the trophic levels of the fish, the EPA and DHA, to get into the tissue, which is the issue, to move it through the digestive tract, to move it into the red blood cell. This is why you need to have the polyphenols with the omega-3s. So our balance oil is not just fish oil, it's so much more. It's a synergistic formula with 60% triglyceride form fish oil made from small pelagic fish. It's brilliantly made. It's made by Lisi in Iceland. They've been there since 1938, way before Nordic Naturals or any of the top company that makes raw fish oil. And then we've introduced during the manufacturing this high polyphenolic rich extra virgin olive oil made from these pre-harvest olives at 750 milligrams per kilogram. So I want people to think of this combination of land and sea, where we are replacing the marine web fluorotannins that are removed during distillation with a terrestrial analog from olive oil. It's just brilliant. It's like a Mediterranean diet in a bottle when I first saw it. And all the doctors on our team and all the nutritionists and scientists, they all agree that at this point there's some consensus, right? We want the omega-3s of the Inuit diet, and we want the polyphenols of the Mediterranean diet. And that's why we believe this is such a standout product. Now, if you look at the oil stability index, we find that the balance oil with this combination of the monounsaturated fat and polyphenols is infinitely more stable in the bottle and in the body. And that's really what the issue is, more of how stable it is in the body. Because purified fish oils may be depleting our body's antioxidants. The reason I say that is that there's evidence that combining polyphenols and the omega-3s can increase glutathione peroxidase, the enzyme that makes glutathione. And so we really do feel like this is a league all of its own. It's more like oily fish in liquid form. So this last year, the UK biobank data came out. If you're not familiar with this data set, it's 500,000. It's a giant cohort. People are data mining it. Look at the headline. It's an imbalance of two healthy fats that affects your early death risk, study finds. The lead author said, we found that higher omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is associated with a greater risk of early death. Here's the paper. In the UK Biobank, they took 85,425 participants, and the headline is clear. Higher ratio of plasma omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids is associated with a greater risk of all-cause cancer and cardiovascular mortality, a population-based cohort study in the UK Biobank. So when you add this on top of the work that Zinzino just published, which we'll review, we now have every argument that we possibly need, that it's our responsibility to test the entire world. I use this example in our presentations. This is a woman that's the healthiest person I've ever met, was taking an omega-3 product every day and scored 23-1. She wasn't taking it based on her body weight. She wasn't taking a product with the appropriate antioxidants. Just read any fish oil. It'll say vitamin E and rosemary are the antioxidants. Our antioxidants are the polyphenols from the premium extra virgin olive oil. And so you need to have those polyphenols in there as the rate limiting factor for the bioavailability, in addition to the weight, and then waiting 120 days to take the test again. This was her follow-up test. Now, not everybody is able to go from 23-1 to 1.8-1, but it was a perfect case history because the only thing that she changed in her diet was the balance oil. So from a lifetime in the supplement industry, I look for all of these certifications from whatever age anyone is. This is critical for optimal health. There is evidence that prenatally, that there's a window where you can really make an impact for brain development. As we grow, through our entire life cycle, as all of our red blood cells turn over every day, they all deserve to be in a safe environment. And earlier this year, experts sounded the alarm on the dangerous omega-6, omega-3 imbalance, at least here in the US food supply. Artemis Simopoulos, if you're familiar with her book, The Omega Diet, the diet of the island of Crete. She's 92 years old now. She's the godmother of the omega-6-3 balance. My teacher, Dr. Lanz, was the godfather of the omega-6-3 balance. He's 94. These people are still alive. And Dr. Artemis Simopoulos sent this letter to the president, the Honorable Secretary of Health and Human Services, and even the Honorable Secretary of Defense, and said this: look, this isn't just a health issue. It's a matter of national security. Our armed forces, children, and general population are impacted. Cognitive function, resilience, and readiness are compromised by dietary decisions that can and must be reversed. Now, a team member of ours lives right up the street from Dr. Simopoulos, and he was at the Pentagon bringing this omega-3 test. Dr. Michael Lewis, who's on our team, the author of When Brains Collide, he's the founder of the Brain Health Education Research Institute. He was at the Pentagon with the omega-3 blood spot test. And here's what he told me: it's not going to happen from the top down. It's a volunteer army, which is why we need all of the public health servants that want to focus on public health and drive private wealth at the same time. So what can we do? Test everyone. I tried 20 years ago. Now this is the time. Everyone needs to test. And I just want to close with this. Our recent publication in Lipids and Health and Disease is the biggest. It is the landmark analysis of omega-3 status ever published. It's an observational study. It's an open access study. There were 590,000 samples. I've showed this to the top omega-3 scientists that I've got to befriend over the years at all the big omega-3 science conferences. Everyone is just so impressed that Zinzino is such a science-driven company that is so committed to publishing this kind of data. And what makes it so unique, what I've been told, these are from what the experts tell me, is that it's across populations. It's across populations, showing that it's a unified field theory for staying healthy, for having cellular balance. So this, I'll close with this. This is a direct sentence from the close of our seminal paper. These results underscore the need to enhance omega-3 fatty acid intake to help mitigate multiple global health challenges. Wow! To help mitigate multiple global health challenges and demonstrate the utility of fingertip dry blood spot testing as a practical approach to design dietary interventions to promote overall well-being. So in closing, what I found here at Zinzino, after a lifetime in this space, they provide the most important number, the most important product. 1.4 million tests prove that this stuff really works. It's a Mediterranean diet in a bottle. Margie, thank you so much for letting me address your audience. Sending the call back to you.
Thank you, Stuart. That was absolutely incredible. I really appreciate that presentation. I've learned so much and continue to do so listening to you and to have your caliber of expertise and to provide the reassurance to those listening that the work that Zinzino are doing, I mean, we're just building momentum and going forward. So like you, Stuart, like I was out of balance and I was shocked, having used omega supplements for 20 years. It's quite a shock. But when you understand the science, it makes sense. So I'm so grateful that you've been able to be here with us and, you're now on our mission to improve public health. It's absolute honor to have you with us today. So thank you so much, Stuart.